All right, so Marion, I'm gonna ask you to click on the YouTube link just to see if the live is coming up. All right. So good evening, everyone, and it's such a pleasure to be presenting to all of you and to the family of God. Right, you're the Triumphant group. I know where you are. I know. Mr. Marion. I will meet Pastor Brown soon. But it's wonderful to be able to talk about financial wisdom and to look at the godly aspect of financial wisdom. I want participation, of course, and I'm going to give you a rationale for participating. I'm going to share screen so that we can look at the presentation I have for you. All right. Um, okay. All right, here we go. Financial wisdom. The Lord wants us to be wise in how we are stewards and how we manage monies. And so there are financial tips. There are many tips that He has given us and hints in His Word what we should do to survive, how to live. And it's good that we can have godly people within the financial sector, within the financial industry, who can come back to tell you what's happening and so that we can share together. All right, so we're going to have a good time of sharing. So we're going to look at what Edgar Dale says, right? I got this from a recent presentation um, that I watched, and it says, we remember 10% of what we read. So if we were here reading through today, we would remember something, but only 10%. 20% of what we hear. So if I'm just talking to you, you'd get a little more. But then we get 30% of what we see, 50% of what we see and hear, 70% of what we discuss with others, 80% what we personally experience. So after this, that we go out and experience things that we remember more. And the best rate of retention is in teaching. We retain 95% of what we teach to others. So that's by Edgar Dale. I know Pastor Brown is in a lot of teaching because he has to get the information out there and get it back to you and be teaching you each Sunday or each session that he has. So he's one maybe with the greatest retention among us. Could that be so? Possibly so. Right. So so when we ask for discussion and so on, I really would invite some participation because it is adding to your retention levels. Yes. So financial wisdom and what the Bible says. So we're going to be looking at scripture. Ecclesiastes 5 verse 10 is the first one, and I deliberately didn't write out what it says because I want us to dig in. But I will do that one, and I'm going to ask Mr. Pritchard. Yes, are you at a place where you can? Yes, you have your phone. Fine. Deuteronomy 8 verse 18, and Mrs. Harriet, Proverbs 15 verse 27. Pastor Brown, Proverbs 13 verse 11, and Mr. Marion, Proverbs 21 verse 5. Let me see if there's another one. All right, let's go. All right, so you got those. Let's see. What is the wisdom that comes from the word that we are so familiar with and we study? And then we're going to look at some um, practical things that we should do as we occupy here. So Ecclesiastes 5 verse 10 says, he that loveth silver shall not be satisfied with silver, nor he that loveth abundance with increase. This is also vanity. Well, who wrote the book of Ecclesiastes. But it's just saying that that obsession and sole focus on getting more and more of money and what it says silver, but money with a single focus and concentration on that alone, not incorporating other things like helping humanity and being able to and giving and all of that is vanity. Because we all know we came in naked and we can't take anything with us. Yet, money answereth all things, as it says in the scriptures as well. But we have to be careful because just that focus only is vanity. Is Deuteronomy 8, verse 18 ready for us? Mr. Pritchard, you were able to find that? Let's go with reading that. Were you hearing me? You can unmute and read Deuteronomy 8, verse 18. Pastor Brown, are you there? What we'll do is take them in the order of who is ready. And if the person is not ready, then you know that it falls on Pastor Brown. It's not fair, right? But I mean, that's just how leadership goes. All right, let's go with Proverbs 15:27.
Okay, the one I have was Proverbs 13:11. You want
to
find that one first?
All right, you can go ahead and read that. And I'm not sure who and the person who has it. Go ahead.
And no Proverbs 15, verse 27 is mine.
Oh, Sister Harriet, go ahead and read 15:27. Right. And then Pastor.
Okay. And it says, he that is greedy of gain troubleth his own house, but he that hateth gifts shall live.
All right, read that again.
He that is greedy of gain troubleth his own house, but he that hateth gifts shall live.
Does anyone want to explain that, what they get from that? We just have to be careful in our getting and in our reaching for all these things, possession, because, all right, any examples? All right, just imagine as a mother and you have big sons or daughters and they would come in with all the flat screen TV. They're not working. They come in with monies and, you know, the best cars, and they're not working. And you're just welcoming them and so happy to receive a big TV to watch and so on. Where are these coming from? So if you love these things, you trouble your house. In case if it's ill-gotten gain, when you're not working, it will be ill-gotten gain. And of course, when things catch up with the household, everybody gets hurt. Mama gets hurt, daddy gets hurt, brothers and sisters, neighbors get hurt. And so we have to be careful. All right, and putting things into context. Next one. Oh, Pastor, you can read that one.
Proverbs 13, verse 11.
Yes.
Says, wealth gotten by vanity shall be diminished, but he that gathereth by labor shall increase.
Okay. Does anyone know what they say about the statistics of those who have won the lottery? Yeah, winners of the lottery. Like not Jamaica only, but all over. Most of them.
They all end up broke.
Yes, they end up as paupers, right? Because so quickly gotten the wealth, the money, the millions, and so easily spent and is vanished in no time. And so that's what that speaks to. Yes, people say, oh, if only I would win the lottery. Right. You need to know how to manage, and what you get little by little is even better than the showers of money in no time in a lottery win or so on. So we're not into the gambling and money by chance, right? Who had Proverbs 21 verse 5? And then we take the Deuteronomy 8 verse 18.
I do.
All right, go ahead.
And it reads, the plans of the diligent lead to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty.
Okay, can you think of any such person who is diligent and one day their diligence led to profit? You must see some examples, because as we go along, we have to be looking for the right examples out there, and they are out there. You can, a business, anyone want to share? Or even a nurse, or a civil servant, or a secretary who works daily, monthly, they get their pay, and it's a small amount of money, but they diligently save, or they enter into what we call a partner plan. And as soon as they get their funds, instead of spending it off, they're building onto their house, they might buy some cement. Then they go again and they save and enter another partner, and they buy the blocks. Then they buy steel, and within a year, they have the material. No, they don't have one room added on to the house, but they have accomplished something. And then they go again, and then you start seeing some structure coming up. And then they go again, and they start, I have seen persons like that. And over time, their labor has paid off. Another person might say, well, I don't have that time. Well, time belongs to the Lord. Utilize it diligently and do what you have to do, right? And the journey is sweet. It's not really the destination, but being able to go through and do what you need to do, it's beautiful as the Lord gives you strength. We have Deuteronomy 8 verse 18. Pastor Brown, you have that one? I think that's the last one.
I have Deuteronomy 8 verse 18.
Okay, go ahead. Yes.
And it reads, and you shall remember the Lord your God, for he is he who give you power to get wealth, that he may establish his covenant, which he sworn to your father, as it is this day.
All right. Who gives us power? You hear that? Wealth. It's not just riches, but it's like it's a broader term. So there is mental well-being, and your financial well-being is in the whole wealth concept, in terms of your humanitarian well-being, being able to give, right? And who gives you power? Remember, power is power, that is even, it is an intangible blessing and strength that will give you the drive to accomplish what you can do. All right? So don't just look on other persons. He gives you, not me alone, not you alone, but all of his children, power to gain wealth. All right? Oh, we had one more. Oh, this is about the ant. Proverbs 30, 24 to 25 must always remember the ant. And we should teach that one to our children too. The ant would gather in the summer months and prepare for the winter, and be diligent and be orderly and they work without confusion. If you should just consider, as Proverbs says, consider the ant. Right? And notice where most of the texts are coming from Proverbs. So if you want wisdom, we're talking about financial wisdom today. And of course, Solomon, he wrote the book of Proverbs, and they said he's the wisest man who ever lived. And so that's why we have so many coming from there. But there are so many. It is said that it's over 2,000 scriptures. So we can find more. So in the fact that we have a manual that tells us what to do, how shall we then consider our ways? We can think about some important numbers here. Numbers to know. Let's just see if we know this number. 86,400. Anyone know what that number is? I'm going to ask Marion if you can check in the chat. I'm not able to read the chat this time in case there's any information or question, then you can let me know. So what is significant about 86,400? Okay, Peter Drucker says, if you know what you can manage, what you measure, right? So what you can measure is what you'll be able to manage. And so if we don't know the thing, we waste it. 86,400 is the number of seconds we have in a day. Every day we get up, we get this free gift of 86,400 seconds. We can't waste it, so we have to be, you have to be really a nerd, you know. But if you're, say, relaxing with the children, make sure that they can count those seconds. If you're spending 400 with them, that it is their seconds, right? And you're planning your life in terms of the for the future. Make sure you do today what you can't do tomorrow, because tomorrow is, we don't know if we're having tomorrow. I was just saying to Sister Marianne that when she came on, how blessed we are, and I'm grateful that we were able to plan for today, and today is here. It's a miracle. I'm telling you, if you thought you had today promised, I didn't. So even to get to 6 o'clock, because this week I went to Kingston, I went here, I had no promise that I'd be here today. So I'm so grateful. Yeah. And I would love for us to, you know, anyone wants to share one thing that they are grateful for, if not, because we want to go through with the attitude of gratitude, regardless of what activity we are doing. Not Pastor Ron, I'm not picking on you. Anyone else? Mr. Harriet, 2 things you want to give thanks for. I just thought of saying that, asking that. If it's not today, but even in the COVID, during COVID, with the perspective of COVID, what pluses can you find to give thanks for? 2 things.
2 things. All right. One, that I got baptized during the COVID time.
Wow, wonderful.
Uh-huh.
Yes, that's wonderful news. Yes, man. So is I born again in this season.
Yes.
A second birth.
Yeah.
Yes. Filling that
And
gap
another,
that is within. You know, nothing else can fill that gap that you have inside except the Lord. So another thing you want to give thanks for?
so that I can wake up every day and to look at the greatness of what God's creation and the awesomeness that I can see all around me.
Wonderful. That's so beautiful. Right. And do you know that there's no design that is repeated in terms of the sunrise or the sunset? When you check it out at 6 o'clock and look up in the sky, if you've seen a repeat of that design. Awesome. All right. So Harriet, you and I watching the skies and celebrating. What's significant about 28,000 and 14,000? All right.
So we have a
76.7. Yes?
This means we have a gratitude in the chat. And this one says, I am grateful that I have not gone to bed without dinner one night during the COVID.
Oh, that's a good praise point. Yes, because remember, you don't know, you know, is you're just nervous, you don't know what it is that's going to happen, if you're going to lose your job or anything, and that's amazing. That's amazing. Right. So what's significant about 76.78? That is your average life expectancy. Of course, for males, it's 73 point something, but for female, it's higher, about 78. So when you average out male and female, it's 76.78. So if that's average life expectancy, we need to be considering those numbers for planning. No, that number of 28,000, that's what we're gonna look at right now. All right, this is because of this concept. I'm sharing with you now what I do as a financial advisor. So 80 years, we're going to round off the 76.78 average years to 80 years for each person. So on average, you're here for 80 years. Oh, how do you plan? And based on how you plan and based on what you need to do, that's how my role comes in as a financial advisor who works with Sagicor. Now, Dr. Sanjay Tulani produced this concept which says, between 0 years to 20, you are playing, studying, at school years. And so you're having fun of 20, 21 or so, you have your first job, you're finishing university, you get into a serious job and you'll buy your first car and you buy your first house. And I left out most of the things because I want you to participate. What else do you do between 20 and 40? Tell me now.
Get married.
Yes.
You want to get married?
All right. Want to find that love of your life and go off into the sunset. And what comes forth? And the children.
Family.
Right. So you have the family and you have, yes, love, family, house, car. Somebody said the man, the van, the prom. Right. But so the children going to school and everything, and that 40, they're in high school and they're 50 or so, they're finishing university and all of that. But during that time, you might make a second investment of doing what would you do in between 40 to 60? Anyone want to share? The children are still there. The whole one house is there. What else?
Buy another house.
Buy another house, yes. So investment property. Yes, or you say your retirement home. You say you're in this first house and you don't really like the neighborhood anymore. So you buy another one. And maybe it's your retirement home or it's for rental. What else? Maybe get your dream car, right? You do some traveling, right? Good. And the children are finished with university. But what you find is that after 60, or you say you go up to 65, after that, you're not earning. So half of your life are earning years, 20 to 60. So call it 40 years. For the rest of your life depends on that. Let me just go to 1 second. I need to mute all again. All right, please mute your microphones. All right, so that I don't have to stop the screen share. I'm going to ask you to all mute your microphones. I was going to do it, but I don't want to move from the slides. All right, so do you realize how serious this slide is? So what if? So we have some fears. What if I have an untimely death? When my children don't get to finish school. So this is what I do, is to assist with those concerns or some of those fears that person have. Transfer the fears to an insurance company like Sagicor, right? So I'd say to you, how is your plan? You only have not 28,000 anymore, but only 14,000 with the other 40 years. And you say, what if I can't work until 60? You're alive enough, but you're not able to work because you have some diagnosis, you have dismemberment, you're paralyzed. Some major critical illness happens. So you once you're diagnosed, you would have bought some plan to put me to work. meaning I'll go and get your coverage for you so that you can have monies to allow the children to still go to school. So that's how my work comes in. All right. So I don't work if you don't put me to work, right? Or it's an income protection. You put me to work again. If you die and don't reach age 60. So I would put Sagicor to work. If I die and don't reach age 60, Sagicor has to pay out to my children the life insurance coverage that I've put in place. All right. I know that the Lord will take care of them, you know, but they're gonna need cash to buy some of the things they need and to pay for the university, right? And the Lord will help them to choose the right place, the right friends, and all of that. And get scholarship just the same, but cost of living is high. And so I have to put preparations in. So what about retirement? So we live to 60. So, you know, that's how life is, you know. Our days don't belong to us, right? And so we either die before age 60 or we live to go to retirement and we spend our monies that we have accumulated. But what is the amount that you should put aside for retirement? We say 20% of whatever you earn, right? So pay that forward into your retirement fund. All right, so when you give me that, I'll put it aside into a retirement fund where Sagicor invests into 9 different funds to give you a return. Another question you ask, will I be able to give my children the best foundation? The foundation is education. That guaranteed payout is in the life insurance plan in case you're not able to because of sickness, you're diagnosed, or there's death before 60. And there are persons that you know about whose parents pass on leaving nothing, who were diagnosed and had no critical illness plan. They only had a health card. The health card can only pay so much and no more, but you want a plan that gives you a lump sum in the event of a diagnosis. And so it's my job to get to work in addressing these fears. All right, but it's you who have to put me to work. But if you're not aware, then you won't move at it. So I'm happy for this forum that we're able to share that you can say, Mrs. Smith, so how much is it for X and Y so I can provide for my family? All right, so in terms of financial management, we look at 4 pillars, and on the I put the YouTube link there, and I have gone through the 4 pillars of financial planning. I've looked at retirement, I've looked at critical illness, I've looked at family protection. But today, because we're going to be looking at some money management tips, then we're going to stay with the liquidity quadrant. All right, so liquidity, someone who has not participated as yet, can you tell me what that means to you? What it means by liquidity? All right, let me put my phone on silent. All right, since we can't have a long pause, you know that, no, I'm not asking Marianne, I'm not asking Pastor. You, Diane or Andrea, Jeffrey Reed, the question belongs to either of you. What does liquidity mean in terms of, I mean, there's no wrong answer, please. Just give me a piece of what you think it is. If you don't answer, you're going to get a harder one later. Uh-huh. Yes. Go ahead.
And I said that can be easily turned to cash.
Lovely. Why I tell you, that's a big sticky, you know. All right, easily turn to cash. All right. So it's where the nearest cash that you have an emergency, you want to be able to grab that cash and to deal with what you have to deal with. Good. Excellent. So Andrea and Diane, you will get questions later. So for the emergency fund is like a shelter for you. You have that in the event of any unexpected expenses that come upon you. All right, and we want to You see that umbrella there? You want to make sure it's in a safe place, it's accessible, and you can draw on it. But it's COVID time. We are what, 1 year in? What is happening to liquidity? It is sailing. There's a song we have. We are sailing. It's sailing in stormy weather. Yeah, yeah. Not much dark clouds at the top, but liquidity needs some help. Um, Most of our liquidity has dried up. But let me explain a little bit more about liquidity. You were very right in terms of assets that can turn to cash. So we have a spectrum of more liquid cash and less liquid. So we want you to be able to deal with your emergencies. As somebody that's you can mute again. For Jeffrey Reed, Andrea, please mute again. Cash, ready cash, it's in your account, and you can go to any ATM and through multi-link you can get your cash. Well, some persons have it in a jar at home. I don't suggest that you keep it there. I don't think you have it under the mattress. That was long ago, right? But some persons have it in a jar at home. Top jar. Hmm. Save, it means that you must take it out of the top jar and put it in somewhere else. All right, because thieves come in your house, they know where to find your cash. All right. Or the savings account, you have the ATM card. Or there's an investment account. The investment account, you can access it. It's just that you will have to give about 2 days notice. It could be in shares, and you will have to sell those shares, find a buyer, and based on market, you get a sale, and it's in your account within about 3 to 5 working days, right? But it's money you can plan for. Gilt-edged securities, more fixed funds, and then there are less liquid assets, such as you have your cash and you turn it into an asset, which is buying a house, buying a car. Now, if you really need some emergency funds, you can't be selling house, selling car. You're not going to get it right away, right? So that is like storing your values for the future. That's investment. What we were mentioning, what you do in life. Yes. So you have money, medium of exchange, or a store of value, right? So you use your monies to get what you want, or you can store the values in these investment accounts or those assets, right? That's broad money and narrow money. That's economics, which I won't get into the M1, M2, and all. COVID times, whose money is flowing and let's say money are run? Money is dried up in the pockets and in some businesses, even the banks. NCB was going to be paying dividends, because they always pay dividends, and they were ordered not to. But in this time, to be prudent and to hold. So not even dividends checks, which are, liquid, and you can spend them right away. That's not even coming out. So it's dry. If you have some money, you have to find some life jacket, put around it. If you have some, put that safety net around it. Hold your cash. Defend it. Guard it. All right, because it's scarce resource at this time. All in the mix. You have to budget. You see all those words coming up? Because there are emergencies like medical bills. You need to be saving. There's something that and you can see there on the fringes. I see job loss there, and job loss is affecting some persons. And it is said that in terms of liquidity, you should have 3 to 6 months savings. So some persons who were diligent and you had your 6 month savings, you're gone down to 3 months because you had to be the one in the family helping others. And so your monies have dwindled. Some only had 2 months savings, and that's dwindled. Some just had one, and the Lord has kept you. That maybe you still have $3,000 somewhere. All right? But blessed is he that has a little than none at all, right? And if you have none at all, you still have the power to gain wealth. You go back to scripture, to that Deuteronomy chapter about that power that is within, not without, to get wealth. So let's see how we manage the $3,000, the $10,000, whatever we have, or we have no money, no cash in hand, but we are working and it's tight, as persons say. How do we manage? How do we create some monies out of the monies that we have, like some savings? Yes, and this part now, while I share, although I'll be sharing, you can put in the chat other ways, or if there's anyone live on YouTube, you can say, my tip is that, or my wisdom is to do this or to do that. But I would encourage you, based on what is happening around you, don't get stressed out, because you get stressed out when you're trying to deal with things outside of your control. That's what will stress you out. You get up today and you have big plans for this evening, and the government has ordered for everybody to be home at 4. Can you change the order? No. So relax and enjoy your moment where you are and what you're doing. You run out there to get a vaccine and then you heard it's finished. Getting upset and stressed out will not help you. Breathe and return to your family and keep the safeguards on so that you don't get the virus. Manage what you can control. Inflation on the rise and things expensive. Do we tear out our heads, our hair? Do we tear out our hair? No. What we have to do is give thanks that we are alive to do something about it, right? There are many who want to trade places with us. So, what do we do? First of all, for those of us who have a lot of loans, oh boy, loans here, because you had one at the credit union to deal with so and so. Your spouse asked you to take out one because you had the better um, debt service ratio on your payslip, and you have a credit card, and you're supposed to have a credit card, but it's all one pocket, and then your spouse loses their job. So there's job loss. What are you gonna do? Walk the streets and tear your hair out? No. What you need to do is to consolidate, or if you have done that, reconsolidate, get extra time, but never run away from the financial institution. Go in and discuss with someone. If you have no sentence coordinated or organized what to say, just still go and say, I'm here. I have my payments to make. I have no money. And allow the loan officer to speak, right? Because they might have more wisdom and less stress than you so that they can guide you. All right. So when you reconsolidate or consolidate, you have one payment. So you will get one loan to pay off the credit union, pay off the other place, pay off the credit card. And that one loan will be stretched over a longer period with a more manageable single deduction than the 10 that you had to pay. All right. So don't run away. Like you're getting letter that they're looking for you and the bailiff. No, it doesn't need to get there. Not at all. Even if it's $500 you can pay. And I'm sure Marian would agree. Don't run away. What is your feedback on that one, my sister Marian? Oh, you're there, Sir Edward? In terms of for the banking sector, do you agree with that one?
Yes, it's better you come in and say something than just to sit and do nothing.
Hello?
It's going to appear as if you do not care about the
Right.
debt. But if you come in and say something, even if you may not be in a position to do something, at least it will be noted and
Exactly.
recorded that you made an effort to come
An
in, but
effort.
at this time you're unable to do anything. At least it's on record.
exactly. Thank you for that. Somebody else was saying hello, and somebody else was saying something. All right. So, not only that, but when you leave there, a weight comes off your shoulder because you have faced your fears. All right, and you realize that there's understanding, ah, a relief. Organize for more investments and savings. So if you were one who had that extra cash and then you were shopping, you had to shop, you had to do all these extra things and the entertainment and all of that. No, there's no entertainment time because of COVID. Save some more. So there are few persons who can increase their savings. Do so. Go out and make sure that you increase what you are, mop up some of your monies, right? When the BOJ tests the economy and they see that liquidity is out there, they come in with monetary policies and they, what they call it, mop up the liquidity. So you can do it on an individual basis as well. How about your utilities? Does JPS or NWC send any sympathy notice to you to say, since you have a job loss, since there's a job loss, since there's COVID, we won't be charging any utilities for this month? Not at all. No. And so we have to pay our utilities. That's another place in terms of NWC, JPS, or utility providers that we shouldn't stay away from. The other day, so they're not having any compassion. What they're having is a disconnection blitz. They had one about a month ago, and they had their announcement afterwards. If you were in the disconnection blitz, come in to speak to the officers. But go in and speak to them if you have the mountain water bills that you're not sure what's going on. Make an arrangement. They have the facilities to make the arrangement. JPS just the same. All right. So, and I was mentioning conservation monitor. That's for those who have children in the home. You have a 9-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 12-year-old, whatever their age is. Appoint them, hire them, and fire them. So if they're not monitoring the utilities, you tell them they lost their job and somebody else gets it, another child. They're just have fun with it. Let them unplug all that is not being used. So you know that the kids like to turn on a light in every room and leave it. So if they are going to be monitoring, it will help you. Right? Turn off the fans. They love, every day they are hot. They are hot in December and they are hot in August, which we understand August. But December, January, they have to be blasting the fan. Ask them to open the windows, turn off the fan. All right, so next, more tips. How is our shopping? And remember now, I'll pause at the end of this slide so that you can give me your tips on what you're doing. Right? You're saving money by doing X or Y, and we want to know what you're doing. Shop at the market for fruits and vegetables. So a lot of us, we just can't bother, young man. We just want to go one place. So we go to the supermarket and we just pick up all the vegetables that have to be packaged, and that's a cost for packaging, cost for the labor who packed it, AC, and all of that. So it's more expensive. So go to the market where you can buy your stuff and even get burrata. Any young person in the group want to tell me what a burrata is? Pastor Brown, you can pick on any of the young person in the group.
Bless the
Is
Lord.
there a young person in the group? No, one of those 10-year-olds, any 10-year-olds on our 12? You want to go to the market to get some burrata, man. You can't get that at the supermarket. You buy a dozen orange, and you ask for some burrata, tomatoes, burrata.
A 10-year-old? Is that Sister Karen Grant? Sister Karen Grant, can you respond?
Yes. What is burrata? We're going to the market, man, and we're saying that we're going to buy some mangoes And
Well,
let's
good afternoon. You buy a dozen mangoes and you throw a little one on it and say, that's your brother, man.
yes, man. Good, good, good. You see
So
what we
young,
know about the brother, what I wanted. So
just
younger
young
one.
and fresh, right?
Ah, yes.
Just
Yes, yes, young and fresh. All right, good. Buy wholesale. You go to the wholesale and it's supposed to be cheaper, right? But guess what? My little problem was this. How do I buy wholesale? I don't have the money to buy a case of tin mackerel, a whole case of tissue, and to buy a case of juice, a case of um the box milk, because these things $3,000 one, $8,000 for the mackerel, 1,005 for that one, da 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 da. And by the time you buy all that you need, you're spending like 20,000. But you don't have that money. So what's the solution to that? So yes, it is cheap and will serve you for a long run, but unless you're gonna get some plug-in of cash, you're gonna borrow some money or so to buy it, to store up. But I would like to suggest the next one, buy in groups. And so I would say, all right, Pastor and Sister Marianne and Andrea and Shauna Rankin, yes, that we go together, we pull together and we say, all right, we're going to be sharing the case of tissue, the case of mackerel, which is 36 in it or 24, the 12 boxes of juice, Surge milk, Surge Island milk. That case, we've split that and we'll also split the other things. It will work out much better because then we still keep within our budgets and we don't have to be having that large cash outlay to get what we need. Right? The other thing is the special discount days at the supermarket. This one I'm gonna be working on personally. I should have done it before to visit the supermarkets or maybe just call them and ask exactly which days. But I know that high-low on a Saturday, it's civil servants, and on a Thursday, I know that there's farmers market. So if you buy any of the fruits, so we say buy fruits and vegetables at the market, but if it's a Thursday, you can go to the supermarket and you get discount, a 10% discount, and call a farmers market discount on those items. All right, so you have also senior citizens discount days. Okay, so take advantage of those. Hilo does that, Megamart does that, and Progressive does that as well. Now, your food budget. You have decided to buy in bulk, right? And you have gone and made arrangements to buy in group. And you need to communicate that food budget to the children or to the household so they don't think it's Christmas all of a sudden. And with this abundance of items that they are to just finish it in the same time, let them know the limits and the timeline that this should be served for, so that you're working together as a household. All right, your tips. Let me hear what you do. You can unmute and let me hear from you. And we're gonna continue with a few more. Yeah.
Good evening. One thing I do, Ms. Smith, is standing orders or salary deductions.
Okay.
What that does is it doesn't even give me the chance to utilize my savings. It automatically is withdrawn from my salary. So as soon as my salary hits the account, my
Okay.
savings is taken away and stashed away somewhere that I can't touch or will not be easily, I won't have easy access to it. So that is how I help to discipline myself to save something on a monthly basis. That's one of my tips.
Very good. So if you don't have it, you can't spend it. Excellent. Yes.
That's
Yes.
the principle.
Yes. All right. But continue on this point. Be your own barber. Can you do that? You save some money, or you would reduce. You don't want to have the barber being out of work, right? But you maybe go less. But can you be your own barber? Would you be able to be in front of anyone to and would you Would you be presentable to the public? And wives, you can help your husband. You can trim them. Yeah. Start from Friday night. By Monday it will look good. Right? Or you have some time to adjust it. You're only like going out to church, and at church they are loving people that if they have a scrape head, they won't laugh at them, right? Because we're brothers and sisters, right? Your own hairdresser. The ladies can yeah, you put the hair in one. Bad hair day. I mean, you can get away with more than the men, but you can go to the hairdresser less. Re-engineering the meal. So all the chefs in here, you have to speak up. This is what I can do. I can add my potatoes to my curry chicken. Yes, so if it's one chicken that we normally use, so tomorrow, so this evening, you're going to be seasoning up the chicken. Is it one that you always use? Then chop it into two and put back half in the fridge. Get out the potatoes and add it to the meal. So whether it's curried or regular fricassee or um, yeah, stewed chicken, potatoes, Irish potatoes. All right, and then ackee only. So don't quarrel. The ackee tree is outside. Pick some, season it up nicely. Don't cry that you have no saltfish. Don't cry that you have no sausage, right? But you can find something else to go with it. Tuna. If you have tuna and you normally need three to feed the family for with the bananas for breakfast, put back two and use one, right? Make sure there's enough tomatoes and onions and add a tin of corn. Yes. So if it's turned into seasoned corn with bits of tomato, so no problem. There's a meal, and you can add carrots to the tin mackerel. Okay, so your stock that you bought will last longer. Now, some persons like to build the muscles and go to the gym. Instead of going to the gym, get up early and walk around your community. Go up the main road, down the road. Sometimes it might be a little scared to be in your vicinity, might not be safe. Maybe walk to the main road and walk along the main road. I mean, sometimes the road not so safe anyway. I have some mad drivers. But you can even find a step if you don't want to go out. Find the nearest step, whether it's inside your house or outside your house, and do some steps, go up and down for a number of times and exercise instead of paying for gym membership. The other thing in terms of household chores, some persons have a helper, someone who comes in every week because you can't bother with the washing and cleaning and you don't know how to iron. So you have someone coming. What you can do instead of eliminating or putting this person in a job loss situation, you could have them come in less time for the week, but allow for the job to be done by yourself. So do it yourself so that you can save some cash, right? So where it's tight, then you can have the person do less hours. Or you can just pray and ask the Lord to keep you even to get that money to pay this person that's coming because they are depending on you, and it's a circular flow of income. And if you really want to preserve somebody's job, you can ask the Lord to provide that you can always keep this person working. Because as we think about doing it ourselves, we are really putting somebody else out of work who needs it. How can we give? I'm showing this, I saw this in a presentation, um, and I got this slide because it is not a big backyard. If I say gardening, you're thinking of an acre or two of yams and potatoes or corns and so on. So you say, oh, I don't have anywhere to farm. Look at that. You have some old pans, you have boxes, if you don't have any box, you have boards that can make a square and you fill it with some dirt and put seeds. Seeds only know to do one thing. fall into the ground and die, and then it brings forth a tree that brings forth much fruit, right? So there is the pak chow in that, I think celery and some other thing on there, but yes, there was a lot of things on that rooftop. It's a rooftop, it's not a backyard. So this person doesn't even have a backyard. It's a rooftop. So you can farm on your roof in pots, right? And yeah, and then the last thing I have is either a community sale or you can announce a yard sale. So say, um, Jay Brown, if you announce that you're having a yard sale, we can pass by. You know, I could come at 10 o'clock and you give another person a time to come 11 and another, you know, so because it's COVID, you don't have everybody bundling and hanging around. But your treasure, no, your what you call junk, you have it to use it, you don't want any things anymore. You have some things you have never worn, you don't need it. Can be a treasure to somebody else for a price. And that money you can have it for yourself. All right. So do some gardening so you can have something to give because the ground is so generous. When it produces so many hands of banana, you can't stay home and eat them all up. You have to give a neighbor. It produces so many. If it's star fruit tree, we have a star fruit tree that just produces. We have to give the neighbor, right? And it's about giving. Now, can we do this? Is the financial planning and what we have to do very stressful? No, we can, because remember, God made us to thrive, as in 3 John verse 1 and 1 verse 2. I wish above all things that you may prosper and be in good health, even as your soul, that S is God, as your soul prospers. All right. So the first thing there in that verse is you and the health of your soul, your inner man. Get joy, get peace, have love, have a heart to give. And from there, then prosperity comes. All right. So you don't have it, but you want to be able to give to your neighbor. And from that wish and from that desire, there will be provision so you can give to your neighbor. And Proverbs 23, verse 7, as a man thinketh, so is he. And I was pointing this out because someone named James Allen, an author, had a bestseller written out of this one verse. That you read, the concept is that, as you think, that's what you are. So it's like if you think that you can, Henry Ford pulled it out of that too. If you think you can, you're right. And if you think you can't, you're also right. But we only have limits according to those that we place on ourselves. And that's why as a man thinketh, then so is he. So we present these scenarios, we have these presentations, we give this information. But if you think, oh, I can't, then you're right, because it is the limit that you chose to place on yourself. And if you believe that you're limitless, then you truly are. Believe you are prosperous, and you truly are prosperous. The next one, Norman Vincent Peale. He wrote The Power of Positive Thinking. But that was based on the verses that you know. Philippians 4, verse 13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And that's one of the main verses that he focuses on. And there are some others that you know that if you employ them, if you think on them, and if you decide to live by them, then it can transform your life. We don't have to go anywhere to any big seminar to get the power, transformation power. It's right in the book that so many of you read from when we started this presentation, the Bible. All right, and I make no apologies for this. We are live on YouTube, international, and as far as persons would share it, but I make no apologies for that, right? Everything that we need is written in the Bible for our well-being, for our wealth, for our prosperity, for our right living. Okay? And so, but wait a minute. I did not get your tips. Can I have some tips from you before we go to our closing segment? Some tips from you. All right. What other things do you do? So I got from I got the salary deduction. Yes, so you go to, if it's a credit union, you go in and say, I'd like to increase my salary deduction so that it goes into savings. So when I need it, I can get it. Or you can come to me and say, let's open a savings plan or an investment plan so that I can have it for my retirement non-earning years. Anything else that you do right now to survive COVID? Remember, we're not living for ourselves, but for each other. Anything else you want to say? No, I won't pick on you. I won't pick on Diane. Should I really pick on Diane? Not sure. Maybe I should pick on Andrea. Or Miss Gray. It's possible that Kamara Fowler has some answers. How do you cope at this time? Anything that we had not discussed on our listing? Unmute and just tell us right now. Going once, 3, 2.
I typed in the chat. Good night. Good night, everyone.
Okay,
I
go
typed
ahead
in the
and
chat.
let me know. Yes, Marion, you can read those suggestions for me? Or since you're unmuted, tell me what you typed.
No, I had said that we plug out unused appliances just to help to lower the current bill, the light bill, instead to be paying so much bill.
Okay.
Especially that the children are at home now, and you know, school is at home and all of that.
Excellent, excellent. Yes. The house is under pressure. Anything else in the chat that we haven't? I'm not able to see the chat right now. All right. I'm gonna get the other.
Someone had written to blend your juices. So instead of buying a lot of processed juice, you would blend the juices.
All right, excellent. And guess what is coming into season? Wonderful mangoes. But it doesn't need sugar. We just blend those and we have them. Yes, so I'm gonna add those to the slide. So yes, we can. I had here some rates for critical illness coverage, as I had mentioned to you earlier. That what you do is make sure that you have a critical illness coverage, so in case of a diagnosis. So if you are 40 years old, female, you can get 2 million for 2,253. Male 40 can get 2 million for 2007. Life insurance, if you are 50, you can get 2 million for 4,353. And male rates are higher. Your 2 million at age 50 is 6,000. But if you're 40 years old, 2 million is 3,002. Male, oh, I think it's 3,000 something. It's a little higher. I need to correct that figure. But I just showed you that even if your grandma is 75, grandma can get coverage just the same. If you can't do 2 million, you can do 1 million. But there is coverage. And we say that you should act and do what you can as stewards while you are alive and the heart is beating. It's a point to celebrate when you check and the heart is sweetly beating. You have no control over that. You don't know when it will stop. And so you give thanks each time. And then you ask yourself, what is my responsibility? And how far am I in dealing with all my responsibilities? Because, you might not be able to do everything at once. So activity. Just think, you maybe can, since you're all math brains, you can do this. We're talking about your cash now, and in terms of will you have enough for those 14,000 days of non-earning days. Calculate the number of years until retirement. All right. All right. So if you are 40, you have how many? 25. Or you might be going at 60, so you have 20. Convert the years to months. So if it's 20 years times 12, how much is that? Multiply the budgeted monthly savings. So if you are doing savings by salary deduction, those monthly savings times the number of months that you have to retirement. Once you're still earning, remember now we still ask the Lord, please keep me working. I don't know if I'm going to be paralyzed, sick, or so, but if I keep working until age 60, I will have approximately X amount. What you just calculated a while ago, that's what you will have in your retirement fund. Are you comfortable with that amount? Anybody want to share their figure? Say you have 3.6 million as your figure. If you have your figure, she can share it. Will that be able to feed you? It's a reality check, you know. That will tell some of you that you will need to call me tomorrow or respond with the feedback form that you do need to, that you're not comfortable with the amount and you need to be upping your investment or making sure that you diversify your funds into instruments that can give you a higher return. And so you have parts higher, some in steady returns, but that you be smart with your money so your money can work for you, because what you have calculated is not enough to retire on. So I want you to ponder those numbers. If you make sure you do the calculation, guys, and you're going to send me a WhatsApp to 423-1932 if you need a quotation for life insurance, for critical illness, or to be saving more for your retirement years. I might be able to see some more in the chat if I'm going to stop screen share. And I'm going to ask you to do your activity of completing the form. And I'm going to ask questions, but there's one. Yeah, there's a feedback form that I'd like you to click on and complete. And also, I also sent you a link, or you can just type my name on take your phone and go to YouTube and put my name in. And I would love for you to subscribe to the channel so that I can do some things with it. Want to put more content there. So you put my name in on YouTube and then you click subscribe. I'd love you to do that. So you can see the other presentations. And all right, put my name in. And you can see other presentations on retirement planning, on estate planning, and so on. All right, so you can ask your questions now, but just do that for me, and I would really appreciate that. I hope you got a lot of information that you can act upon. Remember, while you're still alive, while that heart is beating, do what you can to pay into the future and to provide for your family.